The ace of a gym leader is usually the Pokemon with the highest level. For example, Lenora Watchog, Burgh Leavanny, Elesa Zebstrika, and so on. I did a similar run in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but can I beat Pokemon Black and White with only gym leader aces? Most gym leader aces are pretty obvious. But how many gym leaders does this game even have? It's not 8. Here are the rules. I can only use Pokemon in battle which gym leader used as an ace. But I can catch other Pokemon for 8 gem uses. I cannot use any items in battle besides Pokeballs. Held items are allowed and I play on set mode. With that said, let's begin. The first Pokemon is already on Route 1. Patrat can evolve into Lenora's ace. I really like normal type Pokemon, especially in the early game, thanks to the same type attack bonus, which showed its true power against N in the first city. He grabs a Pokemon in the area around for his team to battle and decided to just use one Purloin. It is a dark type Pokemon and doesn't get the damage bonus on Scratch the same way Patrat gets on Tackle. So this battle is quite one-sided, but it is by design. This should just introduce rival number 3. Of course the first two are Cheren and Bianca. N is defeated and I don't think his battles are hard until the very last one, which is very hard to do, but let's find out. The first real rival battle is against Bianca at the end of Route 2. I mean, it's real in the sense she has more than one Pokemon to defeat. It is Lillipup against my Patrat and I went for the sneaky bite first and got Lillipup to flinch. That was the best start I could have hoped for. Last is Oshawott and I tried again. This time Tail Whip was used, not sure if it's so important, but I tried to finish it off with Tackle, but it wasn't enough, while Water Gun dealt some good damage. Bianca cheats and uses a potion in the battle, and Tackle does below half. So another bite and hope for a flinch, it happened, and then an easy KO. Bianca is defeated and this battle was quite easy. It can get a lot rougher. Having only one Pokemon is harsh. That's why I went over to the Dream Yard immediately and talked to the person here to receive an elemental monkey, Panpour. This gets a bit complicated, but the first gym has 3 gym leader and one of them has a Panpour. And this is perfect because Cheren wants to battle again and this time in a trainer school. He mix and matches his strategy around, which is a nice touch in my opinion. He uses his starter Pokemon Tepig first against my Panpour. I'm at an advantage, so I can use a lot of water guns to slowly but surely remove Tepig's HP. Oranberry is quite nice and gets a free turn out of it, but still Panpour is too strong. Last is Purloin, but the level difference is already too much. Panpour started out at level 10, so I never had a choice. Especially when Patrat was now even higher, since it had to battle against all the trainers alone so far. Cheren is defeated and while his team is quite bare bones for now, he will become the hardest opponent to beat later on. Or so I hope, but for now I have a gym leader to defeat. The first gym is quite special. It has 3 different gym leader. Each of them has an elemental monkey as their ace, and who to battle against is decided by the starter Pokemon. I chose Snivy first, so I have to battle against Chili, who has a pansear, but first is Lillipup against my Patrat. Being slower means to have already lost. Thanks to Lillipup boosting its power will work up, and then use Bite, which also has a chance to let Patrat flinch. My Pokemon was able to get Lillipup low enough to force Chili to use a potion early, which is the only potion he has, and then get low again thanks to Patrat's Tackle. But Lillipup comes out on top in the end. My last Pokemon is Panpour and for some reason it was faster, beating Lillipup. Last is Pansear, but Chili thought it would be a great idea to remove all the moves which are not Incinerate and work up. That means he can only hit not very effective, while Panpour's Water Gun hits super effective for big damage. Only a few turns until Pansear goes down. Chili is defeated, but this was to be expected since I got the counter as a gift just a few moments before. I got a bit scared when Lillipup was able to push that hard into Patrat, but it worked out fine. Back to the Dream Yard. The battles aren't a big deal, but this scenario shows that Team Plasma are just the worst. I think most villainous teams are actually this despicable, but Team Plasma are the first to be shown to do this kind of stuff directly on screen. Team Rocket and Marowak? What's that about? Back to the run, I got ambushed on Route 3 by Cheren. Route 3 might be the most important route in the game for this particular run, but I have to battle against my rival first. He starts with Tepic and I have Panpour here. Water Gun did just barely below half, which is great, since I can use Work Up next to boost the special attack and then a Water Gun to knock Tepic out. And skip the Oranberry. Last is Purloin, but I got really lucky and Water Gun just got a critical hit to beat the Dark type Pokemon. Cheren is already defeated. It wasn't even close at all. He should get more Pokemon to boost up his team. Speaking of which, with Cheren gone, I can find wild Pokemon here, and one of them is Blitzle. It's just one step away from being the ace of Elesa. Back in the day, I always had one on my team in the game. Inside Wellspring Cave is another team plus my encounter, but it was quite easy to do and it's quite important, because this gives me the access to TM Thief. I quite like this move. After a very long search, I was finally able to find a wild Drilbur. It evolves into Clay's Ace, and it is easily one of the strongest Pokemon in this game. I hope I can use it to its full potential. Inside Nacrene City, just before I am able to enter the gym, N appears and wants to battle again. This time he has Pokemon from the Pinwheel forest, which are amazing Pokemon to be fair. But first is Pitoff and I have Blitzle. Shockwave deals a lot of damage, nearly taking it out in one go. Just one more hit and the bird is down. Next is Timpole, who is also weak to electric type attacks for now. If it evolves, it isn't anymore. Last is Timber, and this was quite interesting. It used Bite and I have Shockwave deal about half. There's nothing I can do and hope the next one knocks the fighting type out, which it did. And it's out of Pokemon, and this battle was just a little warm up before I can challenge the next gym leader. Since Lenora is really hard to beat, I grabbed a TM for Rock Smash before facing her. One of the moves I really like to use. This battle was so hard, I had to level up a lot. I actually believe Lenora is one of, if not the hardest gym leader in the entire game. Her team hit so hard, most of my team got crushed before doing anything. But maybe there's a way to win here. First is Herdia against my Panpour. Rock Smash deals low damage, but can reduce defense, which didn't happen. But takedown missing once was actually very important in the overall battle. My water Pokemon can survive one hit, even if barely, and reduce HP even more until it goes down, of course. I have Patrat next, and while Super Potion is used to restore all of the HP, Crunch deals the most damage but below half. I got lucky that Herdia helps out using Takedown and pushes itself into range for another Crunch hit and goes down. That was rough. Last Lenora's Ace Watchog and one Retaliate knocks Patrat out immediately. Now Blitzle in, and seeing Leer is so good it's not even funny. Thunderwave hits and now the battle becomes a lot more fair, at least for me. Shockwave deals okay damage and getting a second Shockwave in can be the game changer. Of course, Blitzle goes down against the first move Watchog can use. My last Pokemon is Drilbur, and I went for Mud Slap, reducing accuracy while Hypnosis hits. I thought it's over again, but Watchog cannot move, and Drilbur wakes up the very next turn to use Rock Smash and gets a critical hit to beat Watchog in the end. Lenora is defeated, and I thought I may need more levels to do so. I also went for Mud Slap instead of Rock Smash right out of the gate, because I believed she may use another Super Potion, but I forgot she only has one. That battle was crazy, but the next part will be amazing. Finally able to go inside Pinwheel Forest, I can grab multiple new Pokemon. First is sewaddle, it can evolve twice, and I hope it helps out the team big time. The next Pokemon from a rustling grass is Pansage. Unfortunately, this would make the second grass type Pokemon on my team is already quite filled, so most likely I have to make a choice on who to leave behind for a while. And the last Pokemon is Pansear. That makes all of the elemental monkeys part of the team, especially Pansear will be very important. Arriving in Castelia City, I can grab the Eviolite. It's very strong, one of the strongest held items in this part of the game, boosting defense and special defense for 50%, as long as the Pokemon could evolve even further. That's enough playing around, the next gym leader waits. It's Burgh, and his typing is Bug, which is quite interesting. Thankfully I got a Pansear earlier to handle this battle, but first is Whirlipede against my Drilbur. I have Mud Slap ready to lower accuracy, but didn't expect how strong it would be in this battle. The Bug and Poison type loses a lot of turns, while Drilbur is able to set up defense drop with Rock Smash, and then hit with Dig for over half of the HP, and then another to knock the first Pokemon out. Burgh already uses his Elesa Leavanny and one razor leaf takes drilbur out. I use pansear next. It has the Eviolite equipped to get a huge defense boost, while Cheren puts Leavanny to sleep. The critical hit razor leaf makes this battle actually quite hard now, since the opponent is not allowed to wake up anymore, and fortunately it never woke up, going down after 2 incinerate hits thanks to the double weakness. Last is Driftveil, and Cheren will help out the next Pokemon I have to use. Bringing in panpour now to use water gun for a huge amount of damage. I don't need to do anything else, just hitting again to KO. Burgh is defeated, and this was a nice and easy gym battle, thanks to pansear, since Leavanny would have been a real issue if I didn't have fire type attacks. Before I can leave for the next gym, Bianca wants to battle at the Castelia Gate. Her team is a bit weaker than the gym leader, but makes up for it with more type variety. She starts with Herdia and I went in with sewaddle. I'm not totally sure what I wanted to do, but I had Spring Shot to lower speed and then wanted to deal a bit of damage. But Herdia just got a takedown critical hit to skip past all of that. I have Patrat coming in and use Retaliate, which I got from Lenora, and Herdia is just defeated in one clean hit. Next is Do What, and I thought Hypnosis might be a good move, and seeing Razor Shell's damage, it was a good decision. Switching out into Blitzle now to use Shockwave for good damage thanks to the type advantage. For some reason I thought I may need to use Flame Charge to push the Vod into range, which was a totally wrong call since I have quick attack anyway. But it doesn't matter, one more Shockwave and the opposing water type goes down. Mana is on a different level. This may sound weird to say, but this Pokemon gave me the most trouble out of all the Pokemon I battled against. It can tank a lot of hits, has Moonlight to heal back up, and can use Cheren to stall out more turns. At one point, I let Blitzle just sit there and hope for some miracle, but in hindsight I should have used Thunder Wave right from the start and get some free turns along the way. But it's too late now. When Blitzle goes down, panpour comes in next to use Bite for good damage and let Mana flinch. That is just fair, at least I think so. Last is Pansear and it's weak to water type attacks. Water Gun did about half, while Cheren might be an issue, but another Water Gun just knocked it out, so it didn't matter. Bianca is defeated and it becomes clear that my team lacks in firepower. Thanks to the level up on Patrat, it wants to evolve into Watchog. Is this the first evolution in this run? It's so late, but I take it of course. Getting a lot more power this way is fine too. And after exploring for a bit, Sewaddle wants to evolve too. Swadloon is just a middle stage Pokemon, which will be usually skipped, but I take the evolution of course. And now comes Cheren. His team is usually very strong and I have a feeling it isn't as easy as usual. Fortunately for me, there is a Sandstorm active and one of my Pokemon can use it to its advantage. But first is Pit Off against my Blitzle. Shockwave hits and knocks Pit Off out from full HP in one go, very good. Pansage is a grass type, so electric type attacks are resisted, but I use Thunder Wave first and then switch out into Pansear. I thought Pansage wanted to use Leech Seed against Pansear too, but it was always paralyzed and I just don't know what it wanted to do. Some few hits in and the grass type is defeated, mostly thanks to the Sandstorm. Liepard is very dangerous and I went for Cheren to set up for my next Pokemon. Pursuit would defeat Pansear anyway, so I stayed in and go down. Bringing in Drilbur, it has an increased speed thanks to the Sandstorm and can start the damage. Rock Smash did great, Liepard is asleep, nothing can go wrong. And Liepard goes down after everything is done. Last is Pignite, Cheren's ace, and Drilbur digs underground. What I didn't expect was that one deck hits and knocks Pignite out from full HP. Cheren is defeated and this battle was easier than expected. Drilbur did a great job. On Route 4 is the rest house and inside I can get the TM for dig. Not sure if I need it. But what I definitely will need is the Firestone in a desert resort. I will wait a bit longer to let Pansear gain more moves first. And also here's a TM for Rock Tomb. I think this TM will be very helpful for the next gym leader. Before I can challenge her, I have to battle against N again. His team looks a lot more dangerous than the teams before, so let's see what it can do. versus Sandile, and I have Sewaddle going in. Razor Leaf deals good damage, and I wanted to switch things up with the Bug Bite to see how much damage that move can do. It's fine, but Sandile doesn't have a berry, so it's not necessary. Darumaka's very strong. I switch into Panpour and hope to make something happen, but the damage is ridiculous. Even resisted, that move did nearly half. There's no way Panpour can do it and actually goes down right afterwards. I use Watchog next for Retaliate. That move is great in those situations. Scraggy is part dark and part fighting. I thought Hypnosis would be good here, but I forgot Shed Skin is a thing and changed up strategy using Retaliate without a buff, but Swagger forces me to switch out. I use Sewaddle again, trying to beat up Scraggy with Bug Bite. I forgot that it's only neutral, so the damage isn't good enough. After Brick Break, Feint Attack and Headbutt, Sewaddle goes down. Not many HP left, so Blitzle comes in, uses Shockwave, and Scraggy is out of HP. Last is Sigilyph, and I have to hope that Shockwave will deal enough damage to knock it out. I forgot to use Thunderwave first, but it's too late now. 2 Shockwaves in, I can use Quick Attack and beat Sigilyph as well. N is defeated. The battle was a lot harder than expected. Maybe I need to grind up more HP to face the gym leader, but let's hope not. I had to train up a bit since Elesa, the next gym leader, was so very hard to figure out. Her team's brute force with just a tiny bit of strategy, which made my team look like a little caterpiece, but versus a Molga against my blitzle. The strategy is simple, use Thunderwave, hit once with Spark and then switch out. But Elesa had the same idea, switching out into Zebstrika while I switch out into Sewaddle. This seems weird at first, but I have only 2 Pokemon who can even deal damage into her team, and for that I have to sacrifice some Pokemon. Bringing in Watchog next, get hit by Spark to use an Oran Berry and hit back with Retaliate, dealing over half. Next, switching into Panpour, let it go down to Spark easily, maybe even twice or some more, and bring back Watchog, surviving on exactly 10 HP thanks to the Oran Berry earlier, and remove Zebstrika, Elesa's ace, with another Retaliate. The second Emolga entered and I let Watchog go down, since both Emolga have Quick Attack anyway. I use Blitzle again to barely tank another aerial ace. My Pokemon has no defense, does it? But Thunderwave connects and I can let it go down now. My last hope to win is Drilbur. I use Hone Claw first to boost attack and accuracy, which might be even more important, and then hit with Rock Tomb over half, while Drilbur gets hit big time. Another Rock Tomb defeats Emolga. Last is the first Emolga and Rock Tomb knocks it out as well. Elesa is defeated. It was super close and only doable thanks to Thunderwave and the Retaliate sacrifice combo, which I like to use if I have absolutely no idea on how to win. But let's continue now. The next part is a game changer for my team. Well, not before I battle against Cheren. I totally forgot about him, even though there are so many battles against him and Bianca. He starts with Liepard against my Sewaddle. I use Protect first because of Fake Out, but the real good move is Bug Bite, being super effective. When Torment was used, I wanted to switch around with String Shot, but being still slower was a bit sad. Doesn't matter in the end though. Against Tranquil, I switch into Blitzle, but this will show again how bad the defenses are. Quick Attack dealing about half alone is crazy. My Electric type Pokemon loses to a bird. Yes, that happened. I have Watchog in to use Retaliate and Tranquil is defeated. Pansage is not a good damage dealer, only Leech Seed can be annoying, but fortunately Retaliate is able to deal some good damage even without the buff, and 2 hits takes the grass type down. Last is Pignite and I switch into Panpour. The level difference is way too high at that point and my Pokemon cannot do a lot without any status moves. But Pignite really likes to use Flame Charge. To boost speed, I assume? The damage is quite bad, relatively speaking. Doesn't matter, Panpour loses regardless. I use Drilbur next and need to tank 1 arm thrust or multiple, then use Dig, and that move will easily take Pignite out without any trouble. Cheren is defeated once again and his team gets stronger and stronger with each time. I hope it doesn't get too strong or I need to get a big power boost soon. At the Driftveil drawbridge are wild spots on the ground, which contains ducklett. It's the stage before Skyla's ace and will be a big asset to the team, even if 2 water-type Pokemon can be a bit much. Outside, the cold storage is one of my favorite held items, Rocky Helmet. Not sure how to use it for now, but it will be used for sure. And inside the cold storage is the TM for Scald, one of the best water-type attacks in the game. The chance to burn is awesome. But I need more to defeat the next gym leader. Soulsilver beats up some Pokemon and evolves into Leavanny. It's most likely the best grass-type Pokemon to get, and I assume most players had one while playing this game. I go back to Castelia City and talk to the scientist person to receive a water stone. I can get one later, but I need one now. Letting panpour evolve into Simipour. A huge upgrade, but it doesn't learn any moves via level up anymore. Scald is all it needs. With all that done, I can now challenge Clay, the next gym leader. Ground is a very strong typing, and he has a very strong Pokemon as well. The best chance I have is not letting them move at all. So first a Krokorok against my Simipour. My Pokemon is quite fast and Scald is super effective, knocking the ground type out immediately. Next is Excadrill, and I just went for Scald again, which did a lot of damage, but Bulldoze hits for over half and lowest speed. I gambled on the Hyper Potion, and it was used, while Scald pushes it down again. I switch out into Pansear. I'm scared for Simipour to go down at this point. Bringing it back in to use another Scald and Excadrill. Clay's ace is defeated. Last is Palpitoad, and I have no reason to switch around anymore, but using Scald for way over half, while Bulldoze removes speed again. It used Arca Ring now, maybe anticipating a switch, but doesn't matter, Palpitoad goes down. Clay, the gym leader of Driftveil City, is defeated, and I was able to show some of Simipour's power, which Ducklett wouldn't be able to do because of the speed and weakness to rock-type attacks. I wanted to leave Driftveil City, but Bianca, the other rival, wants to battle. To be honest, they have way too many rival battles in this game, but it's okay. Some more free experience points. She starts with Herdia against my Ducklett. My Pokemon is faster and uses Feather Dance to destroy the physical attack of Herdia. Combined with Eviolite, there is not much damage coming in. Scald even burns, which removes attack as well. There's nothing Herdia can even do at this point, while Ducklett can do whatever it wants. Even a Hyper Potion gets removed already. This is perfect. Next is Moshana, and Scald hits and burns immediately. I have to admit, I got quite lucky. But after some turns, Moshana's Psybeam hits critical, nearly taking Ducklett out. So I switch into Watchog. It has Crunch, dealing a lot of damage thanks to being super effective. A Hyper Potion will only delay the defeat of Moshana, since Crunch is such a good move, and the burn helps to slowly burn the Psychic type down too. Bianca's Ace to What will beat Watchog every single time, so I just let it hit, so that I can bring in Leavanny next and use one Razor Leaf to beat the water type Pokemon. Last is Pansear, and I want to set up a string shot even if I lose my Pokemon in the process. This way I can bring in Drilbur and use Dig first to hit and knock Pansear out from full HP easily. Bianca's defeated, and I think there's only one more battle against her left. Getting the HM for Fly can help out for some fast travel as well. On the way over to the next gym, I grabbed the Leaf Stone, which I may not even need anymore. It's not the same, but the Leaf Stone made me realize I should finally use my Firestone and let Pansear evolve into Simisear. A huge upgrade which I can use for the random trainer battles. And while doing so, Blitzle reached level 27 to evolve into Zebstrika, who is the real ace of Elesa and my only electric type Pokemon. It has a high priority because of it. And that's why it's so important to grab the magnet at the end of Charged Stone Cave to boost electric type attacks. Before I can leave, N wants another battle. This time he has Pokemon from the Charged Stone Cave, which I beat up a lot of times already. Let's see what he can do with them. First is Boulder, and I have Leavanny in. Razor Leaf doesn't KO in one hit, but thanks to Sturdy it would never happen anyway. Another hit and the Rock type is defeated. Against Joltek I switch into Drilbur, while Bug Bite did decent damage. Rock Slide however nearly took it out and let it flinch. This was just perfect. Another hit and it's gone. Ferocity is double weak to fire, so I switch into Simisear to use one Flame Burst, and I can now face the last Pokemon. Klink is a mono steel type Pokemon and Flame Burst is a mono fire type attack, so it fit together pretty well. And is defeated, and this was the last battle before he uses his real team at the end of the run. But it's so far away, I don't want to think about it for now. While climbing the Celestic Tower, Drilbur beat up enough trainer to evolve into Excadrill. This is a top tier Pokemon. If I had to make a tier list, it's S tier for sure. But I will not do it. What I do instead is use an Excadrill and challenge Skyla, the flying type gym leader of Mistralton City. Very strong and very popular gym leader, that is for sure. I guess because she has slightly more story to her, but maybe I'm wrong. The battle itself was a very one-sided. I had Excadrill going first, using Hone Claws to increase attack and accuracy just to press on Rock Slide 3 times and knock the whole team out. Swoobat's Amnesia doesn't matter, Swanna's Aqua Ring won't ever do anything, and Unpheasant was here as well. Skyla is defeated. It was not a real battle at all. But at least I can now continue on to the last 2 gym leader of this Pokemon Black challenge. Before I was able to climb the Twist Mountain, I have to battle against Cheren again. But this is perfect. I nearly forgot about this battle and the reward afterwards. First is Unpheasant and I have Zebstrika leading my team. This takes a few turns thanks to the Tact, but my Pokemon just needs to connect twice with Spark to defeat it. Taunt won't do anything, or maybe it will because Thunder Wave might be a good move. But next is Pignite and I thought Zebstrika can just go down, it's easier for all sides, and I just pushed more damage, hoping to maybe get the paralysis off, because Thunder Wave is for some reason not usable at the moment. Pignite even went very low thanks to Takedown. I use Excadrill next, using Hone Claws because I thought Cheren will for sure use a Hyper Potion, but he didn't. I actually got very lucky that Pignite used Takedown instead of Heat Crash. Simisage is faster, has Seed Bomb, and Excadrill barely hangs on to use X-Scissor back, which I found on Route 7 earlier. Last is Liepard, and Fake Out gets a free turn. While Excadrill has so few HP, it should not be standing right now. But X-Scissor connects again and Liepard is defeated. Cheren is out of Pokemon and the battle went quite well. But the most important thing about this battle is actually Alder, the one true champion of Unova. He gives me the HM for Surf, which I really need to complete the team of gym leader aces. Back on Route 6 I can use Surf to reach a Mistralton cave. Inside are Wild Axew, which is the ace of Draydon or Iris depending on the game played. Very strong Pokemon. Back on route in Twist Mountain are Wild Cubchoo. This is the last gym leader ace Pokemon to get and will be very important for the last gym leader. To challenge the last one I have to beat the second to last one first. Brycen, the ice type gym leader. Unfortunately for him I do have a Simisear. His Vanillish cannot deal a lot of damage and has to see a work up on Simisear's side to increase attack and special attack. One Flame Burst hits and defeats Vanillish. Brycen's Ace Burtic can be very dangerous. While Flame Burst does not KO in one hit, Swagger was used. I actually thought it will be Brian, so I hope everything works out. At least the ace is defeated. Last is Cryogonal, and the original plan was to use Rock Tomb for some damage and low its speed to then hit into it with Flame Burst for the KO, but I missed twice in a row. No hitting itself in Confusion is an amazing success to be fair. And thanks to the double attack pump on top, Rock Tomb will just defeat Cryogonal from full HP easily. Brycen is defeated and the battle wasn't even too bad, and I have only one more batch left to do to finish up the gym challenge. Afterwards I realized I forgot to grab the TM Brick Break from the Pokemon Center. It would have helped quite a bit against some random trainer. At the top of the Dragon Spiral Tower, N receives his legendary Pokemon Zekrom. I really like that Pokemon, maybe I should get a legendary too. While leveling up, cubchoo evolves into Burtic. I haven't used it for any major battles yet, but will very soon. And finally, Ducklett evolves into Swanna. It will finally be as strong as the rest of the team and earn some nice KOs. Of course, there has to be another rival battle. This time it's the final battle against Bianca. Her team is still only 4 Pokemon big, but maybe it's enough. First is Stoutland against my Swanner. Feather Dance is a move I never used back in the day and use it every single time I can nowadays. Times definitely have changed. Afterwards I can use Scald in the rain to deal huge amounts of damage. 2 hits are enough to defeat Stoutland. Bianca's Ace Samurai has no good moves against the Swanner. So I set up Feather Dance first, then heal up with Roost, but need to switch into Leavanny next. The damage is so low, my grass type can basically do whatever it feels like, and I thought it's good to just push damage with Leaf Blade. It hits so hard that Bianca wants to heal up with full restores. She only has 2 I believe, and Leavanny managed to burn all of them away. Against Simici I switch into Swanner again. Flame Burst is resisted and the damage is lowered in the rain, so this move doesn't make any sense. Scald however, very good. Last is Mashana and I think switching doesn't matter anymore, so I just use Scald for about half, then go down. I use Leavanny again for 1 axew being super effective and Mashana is defeated. Bianca is out of Pokemon and it worked out for me. I just feel bad that most major battles so far only needed 2 of my Pokemon. I hope that changes for the next part of the game. The last gym leader of the run is Striaton. It could have been Iris, but it's Pokemon Black, so Striaton is the last gym leader to defeat. His team is very one-dimensional and I have a Burtic to use it to my advantage. First is Fracture. It could deal great damage, or use Dragon Dance and lose against Burtic's Icicle Crash from full HP. Next is Radigon, but it is too slow to do anything, or wanted to use Revenge, which didn't work out. Last is Hexorus, and while Dragon Dance is used, Icicle Crash hits to knock it out from full HP as well. Drayden is defeated and it went by so fast. But Burtic was able to show what it can do, and I have all gym badges in my pocket. Gym challenge is done and I can now go on to challenge the Elite Four. Of course, there's one more rival battle before I can go on to challenge the last battle gauntlet. It is Cheren this time and we have to decide on who can continue the journey to become the champion of Unova. First is Unpheasant against my Zebstrika. This charge did way over half, nearly taking the bird out in one go, while it charges up a Razor Wind. Why even use that move at all? Next is Embor, and this is quite interesting. This charge hits and paralyzes it. Leftovers might regain a lot of HP in this battle, but the paralysis made it so that it cannot move for multiple turns. And if it does, it uses Takedown instead of a fire type attack, which would most likely knock Zebstrika out in one go. But my electric type Pokemon came out on top, and Embor goes down. Simisage is a grass type Pokemon and I switch into Leavanny. It resists grass type attacks big time and can use Axew to deal massive amount of damage. 2 hits and the opponent is defeated. Last is Liepard using Night Slash, but without a critical hit, Leavanny survives and knocks it out with one move. Cheren is out of Pokemon and in his mind, I shout the strength to move on to the Elite Four, but before challenging them, I have to prepare a lot. First Axew will reach level 38 to evolve into Fracture. Beating up the trainer inside Victory Road gave a lot of experience, and maybe this Pokemon can now show what it can do. Still at the Victory Road, I grabbed a TM for Wild Charge. Teaching it to Zebstrika might be helpful. And the last evolution of the run is Fracture evolving into Hexorus. It is very strong, and I think it's one of the Pokemon who can deal the most damage in my team. So here it is. I chose level 48 for 2 reasons. First, it is the level Fracture evolved into Hexorus, and the second one, it is the lowest level of the Elite Four. Can I beat them and become champion of Unova? Or do I need to level up even more? Let's find out. I can choose the order on who to fight, but I don't think it really matters besides one specific Elite Four member. The first one I want to battle is Grimsley, the Dark type Elite Four member. I like his team a lot, but can it beat mine? First is Crafty against my Hexorus. Using Dragon Dance to increase speed and attack while crunch hits and lowers defense. That is quite unfortunate. One Brick Break hits and knocks the opponent out from full HP. Next is Crocodile, and it has Intimidate to lower attack, which mattered, since Brick Break is not enough, while Earthquake hits and crits for the KO. I have Leavanny in to take revenge for my Hexorus using a Leaf Blade and beating the opposing ground type. Liepard could use Fake Out, but it didn't feel like it and goes down to 1 Axew. Last is Grimsley's Ace Bishop, and Axew did below half, while Aerial Ace, double super effective, hits, but Leavanny survived thanks to the impish nature it has and can now come back with another axe scissor, knocking Bishop out thanks to the swarm ability. Grimsley is out of Pokemon, and even if Leavanny went down, I still had Simisear on my team to clean it up. But this was just the first Elite Four member. The next one I want to battle is Caitlyn. A team full of Psychic type Pokemon is great for Leavanny. Since it's part bug. Is this the first generation where bug type Pokemon are great again? I'm not sure, but it is amazing to use. It has a Shell Bell and will regain HP slowly throughout the battle. Further Reuniclus. And I have Leavanny using Sword Stance, the overtuned move since Generation 1. Psychic did way over half, but now it's showtime. X-Scissor hits and knocks Reuniclus out from full HP. Next is Sigilyph, and even with X-Scissor being neutral, it is enough to beat the flying type. Against Marshana it should be easily enough, and even if it isn't, Marshana unfortunately cannot fight back. Last is Caitlyn's ace, Gothitelle. It is slower, it is weak to bug type attacks, and I believe it does not have a lot of defenses. So yeah, it goes down in one go. Caitlyn is defeated, and the battle was super easy, barely an inconvenience. Only 2 more Elite Four members to defeat, and I choose Chantal next. It's pretty convenient to find a TM Shadowclaw earlier, which is super effective against a whole team. But I need an attacker who resists most of the opposing moves, and I think I found one. First is Cofagrigus against my Excadrill, using Sword Stance, which is a totally fair move, doubling the attack while resisting a Shadow Ball. One Shadow Claw is enough to beat the opponent. Next is Chandelure. It's better to not make any contact, so Earthquake is the move to use here. Flame Body could ruin the next 2 Pokemon battles. Against Golurk, I switch back to Shadow Claw, beating it in one hit easily. Last is Jellicent, and while I think it is one of the better Pokemon in the region, one Shadow Claw beats it as well. Chantal is defeated, and the battle was really easy to do. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like the Elite Four in the game is quite easy to go through. Or is it Sword Stance? The last battle of the Elite Four before I can face the champion of Unova is Marshall. He is similar to Bruno, both using fighting type Pokemon, but that's the only thing they have in common, since Marshall can be an issue in battle while Bruno cannot. Anyway, first is Throw against my Swanna. I have it use Feather Dance to remove most of the attack it has, while Stone Edge looks quite dangerous. Now 1 Air Slash and wow, a critical hit. Throw is down. Next is Sork, and it is faster but misses with Stone Edge. I'm not sure if it's okay to be this lucky, but I take it, using Feather Dance to lower attack again. No Stone Edge hits and crits to KO Swanna. You know what? I deserved this. I bring in Hexerus next, since it wasn't able to do anything against Grimsley so far, using Dragon Dance to increase attack and speed again, while Sork cannot deal a lot of damage. The opponent also has the Sturdy ability. That ability was close to useless before, but starting this generation, it is actually very strong. And of course I use it to my advantage, removing all the full restores Marshall has. After they are gone, 1 more hit and Sork is down 2. Against Conkeldurr, Hexerus hits big with Dragon Claw, but the Unova version of Machamp survived, hitting back with Hammer Arm for a lot of damage. Hexerus is still standing thanks to the Shell Bell HP refills, and 1 more hit removed the opponent. Last is Marshall's ace, Mian Chao. But thanks to Dragon Dance, Hexerus is faster and hits to KO with 1 clean hit of Dragon Claw. Marshall is out of Pokemon and the Elite Four is defeated. It went way too easy, but to be fair, I used the Gym Leader aces to beat all of them. It would be quite embarrassing for Unova if this team would have failed here. I think everyone knows at this point that in Pokemon Black the player does not battle against Alder, even if he prays as the champion of Unova the whole game. The real opponent is N, who just snatched the title. But this is a point where the Pokemon franchise went crazy. A whole castle out of the ground. I do not know what is going on, but it doesn't matter, I have to continue on. This is the part where the game evolves into full-on Final Fantasy type of story. Or more like Dragon Quest, I guess. The player is a chosen hero and Reshiram appears to help out to defeat the bad guy, who is N at the moment. I have no choice but to catch Reshiram, but I can at least decline having it in my team, which is great since I already have a legendary dragon Pokemon in my team. N thinks he's great because of Zekrom, a legendary dragon. and he may think I'm stupid to decline using Reshiram, but what he does not know is that I have a Pokemon who is at least at the same level, if not even stronger. The battle begins and I chose Hexerus first. Zekrom doesn't have any good moves into it, but it's critical, while Hexerus can set up using Dragon Dance, boosting speed and attack, to then use one Dragon Claw to knock Zekrom, the legendary Pokemon, out from full HP without any issues. This has to be devastating for N. Next is Vanillux, and Hexerus has Brick Break, which is also super effective and knocks the Ice type out. At this level up, Hexerus learns Swords Dance, which I may or may not need later on. Against Archeops, it doesn't really matter, the damage just has to be over half to activate Defeatist, but knocking it out is fine too. Klinklang is an interesting Pokemon, and Brick Break does a huge number of damage, nearly defeating it in one hit. But it survived and uses Flash Cannon to beat Hexerus, which is quite sad to see. I bring in Excadrill and use Swords Dance while N uses a Full Restore to heal up Klinklang. Earthquake is super effective and beats the Mono Steel type Pokemon. Zoroark is usually used as a trick to bait out attacks which don't work. Earthquake is not one of them, and Zoroark is defeated. Last is Caracosta, and thanks to the sturdy ability, it will always survive a hit, while Waterfall hits back super effective and stops Excadrill right in its tracks. I use Leavanny now, one Leaf Blade, which is double super effective, and Caracosta is defeated. N is out of Pokemon, and that means my team of Gym Leader Aces is now the new champion of Unova. But there's one more battle, because it is revealed that Ghetsis is the true mastermind behind the JRPG storyline, and we have to battle as well. It takes a long dialogue, but I want to say, this is the reason why most people think this is the best Pokemon game ever made. I like it a lot, but not sure if it's really the best one ever. It has a good story, that is for sure. For me, the worst part is that I cannot change or save in between battles. I have to face Ghetsis next, without anything I can do, but let's see how it turns out. His team is very strong, really good, but my team is literally the aces of all the gym leader in Unova, so it's not a fair fight at all. First is Cofagrigus against my Hexerus. I use Swords Dance in this battle while the Ghost type uses Toxic. That is actually the worst move to see here by far. Protect to stall one turn and then a failed Protect while it gets hit by a Dragon Claw. Ghetsis ace is Hydreigon, but it is weak to dragon type attacks since it's a dragon, and it is enough to knock it out. Against Buffalond, there's nothing I can do but hit into it, and thanks to the Swords Dance earlier and the Dragon Fang, it is enough. Last Pokemon Hexerus can even battle against is Seismitoad. It does not survive a Dragon Claw, and then the poison takes its toll. And Hexerus, my legendary dragon type Pokemon, goes down. I have Simisean while Ghetsis likes to use Bishop. Flame Burst was really strong, but Bishop survived and uses Stone Edge to knock my fired Pokemon out from full HP. That is harsh. I have Leavanny in and use Swords Dance, my favorite move this run for sure. Stone Edge left some HP for Leavanny to survive on, and let it use X-Scissor to knock Bishop out. Last Pokemon is Electros, but Leavanny is pumped to the max with Swords Dance and Swarm, so an X-Scissor hits and KOs in the end. Ghetsis is out of Pokemon, the last battle of the run is over, and Team Swords Dance is now champion of Unova. Thank you for watching, please like, comment and subscribe, I see you in the next one. Oh, and I forgot one thing, the move Hyper Beam, maybe next time.